Here's Papa.
Hello, 45 Alpha Charlie Papa channel, and welcome to part 2 of my Mossberg 500 stock cut down and recoil pad install. We went down to the old Gunsmith, and when we were at the old Gunsmith in the last video, we got to the point where we had this cut down, went to put on the old recoil pad, and found out that the wood was a little thicker, a little further down the stock than it was on the end of the stock. They had fitted that recoil pad to the very end of the stock. So we ended up having to put a new recoil pad on. As you can see here, we got that done. And I always enjoy going down to see the old Gunsmith. I always like taking projects to him. He's always got all this great knowledge. You know, as an editor, he's hard to edit for because he's always throwing in a little one-liner here, or just these little one-liners of knowledge sometimes. And I try to get all that essence, but without shortening the video as much as I can. The last video was 30 minutes. This one I think is going to be right around 25 or so. So without further ado, let's get back to the old Gunsmith. Now, if you did notice, the barrel's been shortened on this also. We did that down there, but we did not film it. He did not have the proper tool to do it, so I used some of his tools and did it myself. I kind of farmer engineered it. So we do have this cut. Looks really nice. Should work very well for what I wanted to do with it. I'm going to just shoot mainly shot or buckshot and stuff through it with this barrel. One of the reasons I cut down this barrel is that it's cheaper to go out and buy another 28-inch barrel. I can get those with the vent rib for right around 95 bucks, 80, 95 bucks online. Every time I was looking at the 18.5-inch barrels, they were going for at less. The least I could find one was 150. Most of them were running around that $200 range. So it's a good option to go out and buy a longer barrel and cut it down to the size you want. But let's get back to the old Gunsmith and let's finish up getting this recoil pad on.
Well, maybe we can find you an old recoil pad. See what I got in stock here. Like most gunsmiths, I never throw anything away. I'm assuming this is, that was about a 3/4 inch recoil pad, do you think? Doesn't look like a 1 inch.
Yeah, I guess that would be probably a good thing to put the same size recoil pad on.
Yeah, well,
if we shortened it by a 1/2 inch and put a 3/4 inch recoil pad on a.
Yeah, I put a 1 inch recoil pad on it. We'll get it back to
where it
was. You got it. Well, let's see. We got us a black Packmeyer here.
These are just some of the things you run into when you're a gunsmith.
Yeah, well, that's
one of the reasons that drive prices up.
Well, this is the reason that I keep old pads around. When a guy brings in a gun that's got a beat up old pad on it, and he doesn't want to put a brand new pad on it, I got used pads. In this case, I have a brand new pad. There's a Winchester pad. That would be really classy. Let's put a Winchester pad on a Mossberg. The pad would probably break out in the hives. You put me on a Mossberg, oh my God! Well, this is going to be a bigger job than I anticipated. Boy, we ain't getting any room for error, I'll tell you that. There is zero room for error on that one. Look how close that fits. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even on the sides here.
Almost like it was made for it.
Almost like it was made for it, except for on the bottom. There's no room for error whatsoever on this one. And it's nominally the same thickness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're not adding anything to it. We're just going to... I'll probably save this pad and pawn it off on some other sucker. I mean, have it in the shop in case.
Keep it until a week before you need it.
Yeah, I'm good at that. Wouldn't be the first time.
Has garbage man go by yet?
Come here. Come back. What was that famous Western movie? Shane! Come back. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a thin bladed knife and we're going to come in here And we're going to cut a little slot for the screw head to go in. And we'll do the same thing here. And cut a little slot for the screw head to go in. That way, after the screws are in, it will kind of heal back up. You'll hardly be able to see there's any holes there. That's the professional way of doing it. This is the amateur's way of doing it, where you screw big holes in it. Now, if we're lucky and the holes don't line up, we got a chance. And went out and got some petroleum jelly.
You can also use lithium, white lithium.
White lithium grease is what I started with, and I couldn't find it. So we're going to put some of that on the screw so we don't tear the pad up when we put it in, and then we give that little slot we put in there a chance to heal. Alrighty. Now, what we have to do is put this on here and see where it lines up. And we can take a little hammer and we can go so we get those holes marked, because almost no two recoil pads are the same for hole spacing. And this top hole is going to go right under the one that broke off. Lucky us. And this one, where the heck did this one go?
It's going to fall into the existing hole, isn't it?
I don't know.
You hung it back up.
What did I do that for? That may fall right into that hole. I think it did. My goodness, that never happens. Except this time. Okay. What we'll do is we'll put that one in the existing hole. What I want to do is I want to use a Phillips bit with a round shank so it doesn't tear up the edges of the slots we put in there. But this one's a little short. And you know what?
You need to drill a pilot hole for that
I
one?
have to drill a pilot hole for this one. Or maybe not.
Just caught enough of the edge of
Edge
the old
of the
hole.
other hole. Exactly. Okay, I'm not going to put those all the way down, because when I put them down, I have to bring them back. Okay? So now what we have is a fairly decent fit here. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I do this all the time, don't I? Got a fairly decent fit here. We're still going to have to take a little bit off. And down here, of course, you expect to have to fit that. And I wanted to show you something here. Does it work? One of the things that people mess up on recoil pad jobs all the time is they will now cut this flat, and it looks stupid. The way to do it is to follow that stock line. So your bottom, your toe or your bottom has to be at the same angle as this, so it comes out at like a straight line, and that's the way it looks professionally done. People that cut that off straight and say there it is, all of a sudden they've got that angle in there that isn't natural, and people look at it and go, looks like somebody did that in their basement. And God knows we wouldn't want anything to look like I did it in my basement. And there's the screwdriver I should have used. Round shank. So that when you put those screws in, you don't tear up the edges of those holes. Anyway, what we need now is we need to mark the pad where we need to grind it. Now there's several ways of doing this. And they're all wrong. Because I hate doing recoil pad jobs. Okay, we marked with a pencil where the edge of that stock is. We can take this off now, and we can go to the grinder, and we can sand all that down to the line, and we'll have a pretty close fit. Or, if you're refinishing the stock, anyway, you can grind it on the wood. To keep from hitting the wood and taking the finish off and having a flat spot, what you do is, once again, you take the one item you cannot run a shop without, duct tape. And you put duct tape right there on the line, just where the two of them come together. You want the duct tape actually abutting right up against the recoil pad. That's good duct tape. That's got lots of adhesive on it. It adheses so well. And since the stock isn't cut exactly straight, we're not getting an exact fit. So it's not going to go all the way around without some help. So we're going to give it some help. If you see that, you want it right up against the tape, right up against the rubber of the recoil pad, so that you can grind, and you're giving yourself the thickness of the tape to stop grinding before you hit the finish. This is one of those jobs that you do a lot of in the gun shop. You put on a lot of recoil pads, and one of those jobs that I am not real fond of. First of all, it's a mess, because we're going to have rubber flying all over the place as we grind. So it's kind of a messy job in the first place. And second of all, if you go just a little too far and touch that stock finish, you're going to end up finishing your customer's stock form. Refinishing the whole stock for him, because he's not going to want that back with the grinding marks on it or sanding marks on it, and no finish, and you're not going to be able to get it to match 100%. So anyway, there we are. We got, again, a piece of duct tape on there. We're going to go next to the sander, and we're going to sand that to fit. And I think I probably better put those screws in the rest of the way. Otherwise, because if this thing walks, we got a hoop of trouble. And I didn't drill that pilot hole, did I? It was kind of, I probably should have. But it's secure, so. There we are. Now it's just a matter of going to the sander and sanding it until all of this excess disappears. So you thought this was going to be a quick project. Oh yeah, just showing the stock. Cut off a ½ inch, no big deal. This is why when you see the prices that guys charge to do this, they seem obscene and way too expensive. Mm-hmm. But you can look at the hours we're having in this already.
Yeah, and as a customer, I'm looking at, it's a $150 gun.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. First thing I'm going to do is try to maintain that angle, that line of the stock. Okay, we're finished with the grinder. We got it close. It's not right up there because if I go too far, you can see I've already scuffed this once. And so from here, you have two choices. You can either take it off and go back to that line we drew on there and grind it down to that line, or you can leave it on and get yourself a piece of sandpaper and a backer and work it down until you just barely touch that tape. But you still have to be careful because yes, you can screw it up. Believe me, if there's anything that can be screwed up, you can do it. Anyone who thinks they can make something foolproof does not have a sufficient respect for fools. So anyway, I'm not going to spend the next half hour here doing that, but when you're done, you take your tape off, and you've got a stock that's unmarred, and a recoil pad that fits. So what we're going to do next is I want to take that pad off. I want to drill a pilot hole for that top one and get it on all the way. Get the pad on all the way, screwed down. And your best bet on these to keep from marring the pad is to use a screwdriver with a round shank. So you just have that little slit in there, and you can always use a little bit of petroleum jelly there on the shank of the screwdriver. Now I would suggest if you were doing this, you do this right-handed if you're right-handed. Don't do what I do. Do what I say. Just because it works for me left-handed doesn't mean it'll work for you. All right, so now before we tighten it down, we should put it back on the gun. Otherwise, we're going to take it off again. And don't be surprised if the first time or two you do this, you end up taking the pad off because you forgot. I've done it many times. And you can put that in there as tight as you want. Just remember, you're the guy who'll have to take it out. And then, oh, I did want to tell all of you who haven't asked about my knife collection that I got into collecting marble knives long ago. It was the only thing that I got from my grandfather. Was got a toolbox, had an old marbles knife in it, and so it's the only thing I have of my father's father. Draw. Finish doing the fine work on that, and we got us a recoil pad with a shortened, and
let's see the butt end of it. See how those holes kind of disappear.
Oh, you want to see? Yeah,
the top one needs to heal a little bit. But
yeah, well, with use, they'll disappear. You know, the bottom is almost gone already. With use, they'll pretty much disappear, and you don't have those holes in the end. People will look at it and go, "How did you get that pad on?" Check that length of pull. Is that any better for you?
Oh yeah, much better. Good. More natural. Finger lays right where the trigger's. Right by the trigger.
And you should probably...
Yes, that's much better for me.
This one they used to do this, I think. Was they teach, lay that on there like that, you know, and you got yourself a 13.5 inch length of pull. We got a half inch.
Half inch.
I'm pretty proud of that.
Pull a 1/2 inch off of this, and we're going to be redoing this stock, so we'll get some other, do a little bit more of the fine work on here, but yeah, the basic job is done.
Yeah, I just getting that to fit a little closer than it is, without damaging the wood. Yeah, it's just a matter of. Actually, it's probably closer than about 50% of them you'll see at the gun show. You go to the gun shows, you look at recoil pad fitting, and boy, there's some really ugly work out there. Now, some people like the black recoil pads, some people like brown recoil pads, some people like red recoil pads. I personally like recoil pads that fit. My guns I put brown on, only because the stock is brown.
Yeah, and this is going to go with a darker finished wood, I think, so the black recoil pad on there will fit in really well.
Well, the price you paid for it is worth every penny you paid.
Worth every penny.
Okay, this is the single Gunsmith.
S45 Alpha Charlie Papa channel.
Saying thank you very much for watching. Adios and happy trails. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Did you just press the button?
Nope.
Oh,
I didn't.
Keep smiling. I guess you might as well. Keep smiling till then.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.